Hello to you, all my cute little chickadees out there. Henny and I wanted to bring you a special video today. One that, shockingly enough, has nothing to do with food. What, you say? I know, crazy, right? But it's true. No meal plans today, no grocery hauls, no pantry restocks. Instead, we'll be talking about autism, and I'll be showing you one of my favorite special interests. And in case you're not neurodivergent yourself, and you're wondering, Miss Peg, what exactly is a special interest? Well, it's kind of like a hobby, but taken to the extreme. I feel like obsession would be the best word to describe it. When I'm focused on my special interest, nothing else exists. I forget all things. I'll forget to eat. I'll forget to drink. I'll forget to sleep. I'll even think, when was the last time I went to the restroom? So when I know I'm going to be engaged in an activity that is a special interest for me, I always make sure to set an alarm. I need to set myself a time limit, or I will lose the whole day to it. I will go down a rabbit hole and not come out, because my special interest is an all-consuming passion. Another word that comes to mind when I'm talking about special interests is compulsion. Let's take my spouse, the always lovely and adorable Choompi, as an example. One of their special interests was a show, and if they did not watch that show when they first got up in the morning, their day would be ruined. It would be a bad day. Everything would just feel off or wrong. Skipping that show would pretty much guarantee that they were going to have a huge meltdown later that day at some point in time. They would say things all the time like, I don't really want to watch this show, but I feel like I need to. I feel like I have to do it. If they skipped watching that show, they would be racked with physical pain. Oh yes, that's a lovely little trick that neurodivergent brains do. When we're bored, we feel pain. Our body says we're bored and gives us pain. As a present. Thank you. I think this is part of the reason why most autistic people are so bad at small talk. And yes, I said most. Remember, autism is a spectrum. What one of us struggles with, another may not. Because we'll be like, no, this does not interest me. I'm starting to feel bored, meaning I'm starting to feel pain, and just walk away from that conversation and find something that's actually more stimulating to our brain. So as you can imagine, this is a great way to tell if somebody who's autistic actually likes you. If they're willing to stand there and listen to you rabbit on about something that has zero interest to them, they really like you. Because they're experiencing pain to do something nice for you. So just keep that in mind. As far as I know, I've never heard any neurotypical people experience this pain phenomenon from neglecting a hobby. So I hope this explanation helps to differentiate between a special interest and a hobby. And I'm sure you're like, great. Okay, Miss Peg, it's not exactly a hobby. Don't worry, Peg, no one's gonna call it a hobby. But what is it? Girl, you really didn't define it. You just focused on what it's not. A special interest can be many things. Almost anything, really. It can be an item. A lot of autistic people are avid collectors, especially of items that we had as children or collected as children. They've done studies, and it's shown that autistic brains don't deem things to be childish or babyish or age inappropriate. We don't seem to suffer from that inner turmoil that neurotypical people have, where they want to desperately like something, but they're like, well, I'm an adult, I better not. We're like, bring it on. I don't care if I'm 10 or 45. If I like it, I like it. And I'm going to get my paws on it. I'm going to acquire it. Now, please, make no mistake. I am not saying that autistic people are childish. There's a huge, huge problem in the autistic community and in the disabled community, where people talk down to us or treat us as children instead of adults. All I am saying is that we typically don't outgrow our interests from childhood. That's it. You should always treat an autistic adult like an adult, a disabled adult like an adult. Treat children like children. It's not that hard, loves. Just felt the need to throw that little PSA out there, because the last thing I want is for people to say, well, there's this autistic girl on YouTube, Miss Peg, and she said it's okay for me to treat all autistic people as children. She said their brains are childish. No, I never said that. Please don't do that. You're better than that. Make no mistake, I am not co-signing or green-lighting any ableist behavior. PSAs aside, getting back to our topic of special interests. So, for example, when I was a kid, I loved the Ninja Turtles. I wanted the van that shot those pizzas so badly. And unfortunately, I never got one as a child. Wah, wah. Friends, I am not ashamed to admit to you that recently I went on eBay just to see how much one would cost, because maybe if it wasn't that expensive, I might acquire it. Treat myself to a little nostalgia, a little walk down memory lane. Relive my youth just a bit. But it was $2,000. So that's a hard no. And I know some people are going to be like, Miss Peg, lots of people collect toys as adults. Even neurotypical people. And yes, I know that. I'm not saying they don't. But I think the difference lies in that I would feel no shame in collecting it, number one. Two, I would happily, and very proudly I might add, be willing to tell anyone who would listen that I acquired said item with zero hesitation. Three, I would display it proudly in my home. I would not confine my collections to a separate room out of somebody's gaze, like a dungeon, if you will. Like, oh, I'm going down to the dungeon with my hoard, with my collection. No, it would be right where anybody who walked in my house could see it. I find that most autistic people only squirrel their items away for one or two reasons. One, they live with small people, little ones, who get into everything and can damage it or ruin it, and there's that fear of, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this precious thing, I must hide it away and keep it safe from little ones. Or two, they live with a neurotypical person who is like, that's not fashionable, that's not appropriate, you can't put that there. Luckily, I don't have that problem. If you remember from earlier on in the video, my spouse, the always lovely and adorable Choompi, is also autistic. So if I got an item I was super excited about, they'd be like, heck yeah, put that sucker right on the mantle, front and center, baby. And they would join me in showing everyone who walked into our house, look what my wife got. Isn't this Ninja Turtle pizza van amazing? And four, I would know an ungodly amount of information about the items I was collecting, its mythology, the person who invented it, to where most people, most neurotypical people, would find listening to that insanely boring and be like, please stop, Peg. Please. Like, I don't need a thesis on Ninja Turtles, where I would be like, well, I'm ready for one. You want a presentation on Ninja Turtles? You say the word. You got 3 hours? I've got 3 hours. Let's do this. Besides items, special interests could also be a place, a person, a topic of conversation, a certain area of study, or finally, what I'm going to share with you today here in a moment, an activity. I'm sure some people are like, girl, about time. Woo! It's been 10 minutes. This is the longest intro ever. All right, let's go. Tell us. The suspense is killing me. My special interest is, a drum roll please, snail mail, i.e. pen paling. I love sharing a little bit about my life and learning also a little bit about other people's lives all around the world. Cultural studies was always my favorite topic in school. I just find it absolutely fascinating. What's normal in our country could be taboo in another country. I love learning about another culture's superstitions or their myths. So I just find it a very rewarding special interest. I feel like it helps me grow as a person, and I've learned so much throughout the years corresponding with people, and I'm so grateful to them for teaching me about all these things. And I think the most important thing that I've learned is, despite our many differences, we're more alike than we realize. We have a lot more common ground than you'd think. The website I use for my pen paling is called Postcrossing. The concept is very simple. You sign up, you send a postcard, you get a postcard back, and it's all random. You don't get to pick where you send your card, and you don't get to pick who sends you back a card. Now, because of my autism and my other disabilities, I don't use the site in the traditional way. Oh no, friends, I hit up the forums, and that's where I go and offer to send free postcards to anyone who's struggling, having a hard time, and just needs a little reason to smile. So instead of sending a postcard and getting a card back in return, I just send a postcard. I get nothing back in return, except the joy of knowing that I helped make somebody's day a little bit better. Using the forums also allows me to ask for some accommodations. I make sure to remind people that I am disabled and therefore I am very slow. I move like molasses. We're talking snail speed and not turbo. Oh no, more like Chet, his brother. It seems like typically other people who use the site, when they get an address, they send the card out that day. When I get an address, it may take me a week or two to mail my card. So I make sure up front they know that, so that way nobody gets hurt feelings and they have realistic expectations of me. I also ask that people choose the card they would like to receive and let me know what topic they would like me to write them about. A lot of people are like, just surprise me. And I have to explain to them how with being autistic, that would be a straight up nightmare. Because, like many autistic girls, I have high empathy. Oh yes, that's a thing. Most people only know about autism and low empathy. But the reverse is also true. And it's usually observed in girls, not boys. In fact, it was one of the key traits that got me my autism diagnosis from my doctor. And what do I mean when I say high empathy? I mean, I feel very strongly. If someone is suffering, I feel that suffering as if I'm going through the experience myself. So let's say somebody's dog died and they tell me, I feel like my dog died. I will be so sad, so inconsolable. And it also makes me a chronic people pleaser because I take on other people's feelings and emotions. If someone is sad around me, well, now I'm sad. Even if I was happy before, I am now instantly sad. Unlike most people, I value other people's feelings, their wants, their needs, their desires over my own because their feelings are my feelings. I hope that makes sense. high empathy in regards to autism is a little tricky to explain. I almost feel like it's one of those things you just have to experience. I'm sorry. I will spend hours, if people don't tell me what card to pick, poring over all of my cards to pick them the perfect card to try to please them. I will also spend hours thinking of the best stories or facts about my country, or I will read through their hobbies and interests and try to think, do I have something to tell them that corresponds to that? It will consume all of my thoughts for every waking moment for days. So it is essential that they give me direction. I need direction. If they don't, my mental health and well-being will greatly suffer. Thankfully, 99% of people on the site are very sweet and very accommodating and more than happy to make changes so that I, as an autistic person and a disabled person, can participate. The 1% that doesn't, well, they just move on and trade with other people, and everything is fine. The world continues to spin and life ticks on. So I thought that you might like to see all the cards that I sent out in the months of September and October. But instead of telling you where I sent them, I thought we'd play a little game. I'll show the country's flag, and you can see just how well you know your geography, or vexillology, the study of flags. I'll drop the answers in the description box below. Enjoy. Happy guessing. bid you a fond-adieu. As always, Henny says, don't forget to peck, like, and subscribe with your beak, and use those sharp clickety claws of yours to leave us a comment down below. Don't be shy, loves. It's a safe space. We don't bite. Chickens don't have teeth, my dears. We'd like to thank you for giving up your precious free time. It means a lot to us that out of all the things you could have done, you chose to spend that time with us. Until next time, Henny and I are counting on you to take great care of your amazing selves. Remember, no matter what anyone else has said to you before in the past, you matter. You're precious and irreplaceable, dear. Of all the people in the world, there's only one you, and you make it awesome. Trust me, would I lie? No, absolutely not. Henny wouldn't stand for it. My darling metal chicken has a strict code of conduct. She's got some high moral standards, that one. Oh yeah, she even teaches a class on ethics down at the local community college. I'd get some stern warning clocks if I lied to you, dears. So if I say you're great and wonderful and all things fantastic, you are. As Ka says, you can trust in me. Until next time, loves, take care. Bye.
Bonus time!
That's right, friends. It's bonus time. Super Mega Rare Boss Round unlocked. By staying till the end, you get a mail call. The joke of the day. Brought to you by the one and only, my lovely Moo Mom. That's what we call her, friends, because she's the wife of a dairy farmer. Every day, she sends us a joke to try to lift our spirits and cheer us up just a little bit. So if you're having a bad day, if things aren't going as planned, and life seems to be serving up one hot, steamy plate of calamity, one right after the other. Excuse me, waiter, can I have a word with the chef? I ordered a big heaping bowl of peace and quiet. This is not my order. Henny and I want to share this joke with you. Hopefully, it'll make you smile. Maybe just a little one, and cheer you up a bit, at least for a minute or two. So here we go. One joke, courtesy of Moo Mom. What do you call a dinosaur that is sleeping? A dino snore. Wah, 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 wah.